How's it going, folks? Just a thought. When thinking about the triumphal entry, there's a couple things that I think are intriguing, but the one that I want to talk about is in the story where they put down their coats and they're waving the palm branches. And we're talking mainly about the coats, just for knowledge. In the New Testament, there would have been several pieces of clothing that the men would have been wearing. The first one would have been the haluk, Haluk, kind of like your under, like kind of like a kilt that the undergarment section. You'd wear a tunic, which usually went down to about your knees for men, down to your feet if you're a woman, and that could be woven just with one seamless. That's what Jesus's was. You also have a Matthew 3:4 mentions about like a girdle kind of thing as well, maybe to keep things where they need to be. But then there's also this upper garment called the cloak and or mantle. And what would happen is it would it could be used for fashion, but a lot of times it was a thinner material that was to kind of keep you warm. You could wear two even, but most people only afforded one if you were fortunate enough. Some people just had the tunic and the undergarments. So when these people are coming and they're throwing their cloaks down, they're referring to that mantelpiece, that other thing. There were some people, just a little side note, there were some people that would just wear the over thing and didn't wear anything underneath. Sometimes they kind of wear it off the shoulder, look like a toga kind of thing, but that's for another day and another story. It's interesting, though. They're throwing these things down in front of Jesus. Zechariah 9:9 talks about Jesus, prophesies Jesus coming as the humble king. And this is kind of part of that idea. The only other time mentioned in the Bible when they're throwing coats down in front of someone was for King Jehu and 2 Kings 9:13, where he had just killed Jezebel, who was, again, another story for another time, but a horrible, horrible leader. And she gets thrown out the window, and the dogs come and lick her blood. Like, it's bad stuff. But she's gone. So they throw their coats down like, whoa, this is just amazing that she's finally gone, kind of deal. Those are the two times it's mentioned there. Now, the palm branches are also mentioned, though, in Revelation 7:9 and 10, where Jesus returns. This is the Lamb returns. There's people from all over, every nation, and there are people that are they're throwing their coats down saying, blessed is the Lamb who comes in the name of the Lord. Like, great stuff here at the end. And so it's interesting that they're doing this, and they're how can we... It just paints an interesting picture for us of what's happening here. And so the question that I want to bring up is what is the cost of us saying how awesome Jesus is? Now, it says the crowd was there and they're cheering, yay, cheers. I'm not sure what they cost. Now, you can say, cheering Jesus on social media will cost you some friends maybe, and it might. I wonder what kind of friends they were in the first place, but, be careful there. But cheering Jesus is one thing, but those same voices a couple days later are going to be saying crucify him. So cheering is one thing. The palm branches is another, okay? It's not my palm tree. I am ripping it off a palm tree that's standing here and waving it for someone else. And so I look at this and think, man, the cloak is the thing, though. The people that really wanted to say, hey, Jesus, man, this is something here, they put their cloaks down in front of him so that the donkey could go over. The disciples are behind him. The crowd is there. I wonder, at what point do they get their coats back? Do they get it back? Does it get kind of scuffled up and nastied, and you say, you know what, it was thin to begin with anyway, and now the people have been stepping on it for the last hour because it's parade thing, and I'm just out of cloak. I wonder what the cost is for us. What do we have to lay down? What should we lay down for Jesus? A reputation? If people knew that I was a Christian, man, that would... What about financial? What do we lay down financially for Jesus? What about our pride? Do we lay our pride down and say, you know what? I'm not really sure about the whole tunic I got underneath. This kind of stained from yesterday, but I'm just going to keep it on. You know what? I'm just going to cheer. I'm just going to wave that branch. There are things and excuses that we have for all of them of why we don't sacrifice for God. It's easy to get caught up in the hoopla and say, yeah, I like it when things are good, but I don't want to actually invest anything in it. I don't want to actually be, inviting people to church. I don't want to actually be praying for people. I don't want to actually be I'm just going to stand at a distance and cheer when cheering looks good. If I need to wave a stick, I'll wave a stick. But I don't know about investment. How are we investing in that? Did Jesus actually need the coats? No. Did Jesus command them to use the coats? No. Would have been different if that was the case. But out of their own volition, they said, man, this guy means something to me. A verse that really resonates with me is, he who has been forgiven much loves much. And as someone who's been forgiven tremendous amounts, I know that I love God and I want to sacrifice for him. My challenge is, do you love God? And what are you willing to sacrifice for him? Just a thought.